Hi guys, today a little interesting topic, food allergy, okay, or some also, you might have heard this term, food intolerance, okay. What do those two basically mean first of all? Okay, so a food allergy is a true allergy. It's you get a true allergic reaction. You know, your windpipe can close up, you can get hives. Basically your body reacts in a very violent way. Food intolerance is where you get a low level reaction. Okay, it's still a form of an allergy, but it's not as impactful. So for example, I don't react well to gluten. I don't react well to dairy. Okay, so I omit them from my diet. If I eat them, will I die? No, I'm not allergic to them, I'm intolerant to them. Okay, if someone with a peanut allergy eats peanuts and they don't have their EpiPen or their adrenaline or whatever it is they need to kind of protect their bodies, then they could actually go into anaphylactic shock and die from that allergy. Why is this important? Because when you're looking at food intolerances, you're not looking about things that are doing kind of direct damage to your system and are basically life-threatening. You're looking at foods or particles where they don't really agree with you, and then therefore they create a response within the system that makes it harder for you to achieve your goals. Okay, I'll explain why that is first of all. Okay, so when you eat something you're intolerant to, it causes a stress reaction on the system. Okay, so the first thing it does is it cranks up your immune response. Why is that important? Because if you're overtaxing your immune system all the time, it basically wears down your immune system. Okay, so it makes you very hypersensitive, and believe it or not, you can have food intolerances that lead into food allergies. So for example, you can be gluten intolerant, and if you keep eating it and you don't listen to the body's sensitivity symptoms, so the bloatedness or the gassiness, then eventually you can actually become a true celiac where you are actually allergic, and you end up with a life-threatening condition if you eat it. So food intolerances can lead into food allergies. The next important factor to remember when you actually have a food intolerance is that your body doesn't care how much you have. I've had this conversation numerous times with many clients when they've been discussing they only had a bite of a sandwich. Okay, so they've been trying to cut bread out of their diet, or they've been trying to cut gluten out of their diet, and they say to me, and it's an excuse, well, there wasn't anything else to eat, so I just had a bite of a sandwich because I was starving. Firstly, they should be planning better. Second of all, you have a choice. Just the other day I was walking around a shopping mall, and I think it was the Arndale Centre actually, and I went into a Starbucks. There was nothing there to eat. I walked back out, even though I was really hungry. I could have just think, stuff it, I'm going to eat what I want. I walked back out and I said, that's it, I'll leave it, and if I find something that's not got gluten in it, then I'll have that. If I don't, then I'll wait until I get home. Simple as. Again, I should have planned better. My fault. So anyway, what happened? A few minutes down the road, there's a Costa, so I went in there and got myself a gluten-free sandwich. Was the 5 minutes of extra, well, I get really hungry, so the extra torment worth waiting? Yes, because as a result today, because it was actually yesterday, sorry, today, I don't feel bad for eating what I ate yesterday, whereas if I'd eaten the gluten, then I would have felt rotten today and bloated and gassy and not very pleasant, and no one would have wanted to be around me. Okay, the next factor that's kind of in line with this is an importance of when you're trying to lose weight, because when you're trying to lose weight, what you want to be doing is controlling things like your cortisol response. So if you put a stress through the system, like eating something you're intolerant to, and it has that reaction, then you crank your cortisol up through the roof. Okay, and as I've mentioned before in other videos and in other seminars, when you produce cortisol for long periods of time, it promotes fat storage around the waist. This is one of the reasons why guys in particular tend to gain weight on the belly, because they have more cortisol receptors. So whereas women have more estrogenic receptors and they tend to store fat on their thighs, guys tend to store fat on their bellies because of the cortisol receptors that they actually have. Okay, so try if you can that if you are actually going to go down the food sensitivity path and you're going to restrict those foods, that you decide properly right at the start that, you know what, that's it, I'm not eating gluten anymore, or I'm not eating dairy anymore. If you go down the path of, oh, I'm going to cut bread out a little bit and see if that makes me feel better, chances are you won't actually succeed in cutting it out, and you won't actually get the reactions that you really want. Little tip as well, if you are going to go down the food sensitivity path and start to cut some foods out, is that you need to be completely food, or whatever that food is that you're going to cut out, it has to be a minimum of 14 days. I actually prefer 21 days, so 3 weeks, but 14 days is a rock bottom minimum. Okay, that's non-negotiable. So, if you get to day 13 and you fall off the wagon, then you restart again at day 1 if you're going to be truly trying to eliminate foods. Okay, the reason why you kind of do the actual the elimination process is because what you want to be doing is cutting those foods out of your diet for 14 days, and then after the 14 or the 21 day period, you reintroduce one food group. So for example, let's say you cut gluten out. After 14 or 21 days, however strict you're going to make it, you put one of those foods back in. So you might have a slice of bread, and you see how your body reacts to it. And if you get a reaction from that, then that is it, it's off the menu, because basically you've tried to clear your system from it, you've tried to calm the reactions down, you've still reacted to it. Well, that's your body saying to you, do not eat that again, please. But if you continue to eat it, then it will actually carry on shutting you down. It will shut down the reactions, and eventually the sensitivity, or the symptoms of the sensitivity, will actually diminish, but the damage still gets done and you still produce cortisol. So I know this has been a really technical video. I'm sure you're gonna have lots of questions about that, so please put those in the comments below. But hopefully this has kind of highlighted you to a bit about the whole food allergy, food intolerance thing, and why it's important to do it properly.